WWE SmackDown series has been the longest running and the most popular of THQ's WWE licensed games. The first one came out in the year 2000, and in those 4 years, 5 different titles have bared the SmackDown name. The 5th one is just coming out now, and it is called WWE SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. For all intents and purposes, Here Comes the Pain is a lot like last year's Shut Your Mouth. It's got most of the same features, just with some upgrades to the basic features like the Creator Wrestler and the Season Mode. A couple of new match additions, and the one aspect they've really overhauled is the gameplay and made it a whole lot more fun to play, and just generally, it's a much better game. There are 3 distinct changes to the SmackDown style of gameplay for this year's game. The first one is the grappling system. Last year's game kind of started taking the grappling system in a little bit more of a simulation-based style, less arcadey, less focus on speed, more focus on technique. This year they've really gone in that direction by just totally overhauling the grappling system with 4 specific grappling categories. The 4 grappling categories are power, signature, quick, and submission. There's actually 16 grappling moves overall, so it's just a much deeper system as well. The second thing they've done is they've really implemented location-specific damage this year. That was one of the things that SmackDown never really done before, and the way they've done it is actually probably better than most any other wrestling game has ever done it. This is especially useful during submission, so you know where to focus your attacks, and really it adds another layer of depth to the gameplay. The last change is to the reversal system, which last year was just one button, and you kind of had to sort of guess whether your opponent was going to do a strike or a grapple. And this year there's actually 2 reversal buttons, one for striking and one for grappling, and you don't have to guess which direction your opponent's going to do it. It's a much better system, and it's a lot more fun. All the same types of matches are in this year's SmackDown that have been in previous SmackDown games. Hell in a Cell, Cage, TLC match, Iron Man, 3 Stages of Hell, all the stuff that you would expect. This year they've added a couple of new ones, the ever-tantalizing bra and panties match. The other one is the Elimination Chamber match, which was recently introduced by Eric Bischoff at a pay-per-view not too long ago. Both of these matches, you know, they're highly gimmicky, they could be kind of done badly, but they're actually done really well in the game, and they're a lot of fun to play. Here Comes the Pain Season Mode is not a major upgrade over last year's Season Mode, but it does do some things differently and add some stuff that does make it a much more fun experience. You start out at a hub area called the Locker Room, where you can do any number of things. You can jump to different locations in the arena. You can also access the Shop Zone there, which is basically the game's unlockable mode. There's a host of stuff to unlock, classic wrestlers like the $1 Million Man, a whole bunch of wrestling moves for the Creator Wrestler, a bunch of attires for different wrestlers. There's a whole lot of stuff, and you should spend plenty of time trying to unlock it all. This year's Season Mode features largely a new storyline, though there are a couple of elements that seem like they're repeated from last year's game. It's sort of almost like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, because depending on what you choose sort of decides how the storyline goes from there. While it isn't drastically different in setup from last year's Season Mode, it is still a whole lot of fun to play and is absolutely worth checking out if you like last year's Season Mode. This year's Creator Wrestler in Here Comes the Pain is, for all intents and purposes, the same Creator Wrestler as last year. There's more options, there's more different styles of clothing, a few new hairstyles, a few new different, basically just new customizable aspects with the same categories. Same thing with the Create an Animation mode. It's the same basic idea, more stuff, but the same basic concepts here and there. That's not really a complaint, because last year's Creator Wrestler was fantastic. Graphically, the SmackDown games have always been fantastic, and Here Comes the Pain is no different. All the wrestler models are supremely realistic looking. You just take a close-up look at like The Undertaker and just sort of look at the detail that's gone into his face, into his tattoos, into his outfit. It's all superb. Animation-wise, you know, a lot of the animations from last year's game are still in, but all the new stuff looks equally great to last year. Everything moves really smoothly. The clipping stuff, you know, every wrestling game has clipping problems. That's just a fact of life. Here Comes the Pain has them too, but they're not anywhere near as bad as any of the other WWE games currently on the market. Sound is kind of the one category where Here Comes the Pain doesn't really have that whole lot going for it. What little commentary was in last year's game, sort of the very vague play-by-play by Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, has just been completely cut out. There's just no commentary in the game whatsoever. So it's a little disappointing that their solution was just to cut it out as opposed to actually, you know, improving it in any way. If you're looking for like major innovation in the SmackDown series, you're not going to find a whole lot of it in Here Comes the Pain. The gameplay is significantly improved, and they have done a whole lot to really bump that aspect of the game up. But in terms of like graphical presentation, features, all that stuff, it's basically the same as last year, with some minor upgrades here and there. All in all, though, it's still a fantastic wrestling game and is really the best SmackDown game ever. So if you are a fan of the SmackDown series, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't check out Here Comes the Pain.